super excited to talk with you. What we got going on here? Oh, got it.
Yeah, so
cool. So I wanted to just touch base on the documentary stuff. Can you hear me? Right?
So what I was thinking was trying to get the
right there,
experience. Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay. So what I was thinking was trying to get the experience you're creating more attention. And so I was thinking of speaking with Aaron Ludwig and Marcus Howard and just trying to get your platform, so the attention, right? So all the opportunities that you'll be providing to people, they'll be able to be realized. And so I wanted to think about ways where, whether it be through my own platform or someone else's platform, we could get this going. Because I was thinking, how come it's always okay, Tommy's building this awesome thing, but then every time I'm trying to explain it to somebody, nobody really understands the vision because I can't explain it as well as Tommy does. And so I'm just thinking, you Tommy on the platform, Tommy does his thing, and you go.
Yeah, and I think when it comes to in my mind, I've been envisioning a docu series about this for about pretty much. I wish I started in the last facility. Just we have so much content from the last facility, from actual hands-on projects that we were doing, to meetings, and there's just so much awesome content that's not being delivered. And I think the best way to do it is by truly dedicating and committing to a documentary, something that's so unique in a way, but yet it's so normal when people think of watching on Netflix or YouTube's or something like that. And so we're not trying to change too much of that, but what we're doing is you're right, it's very unique in a way, and if we do this correctly and we can launch a couple series or so, at least some clips about it prior to the opening, or as we go through this current point where we're shutting a facility down due to investment challenges, due to landlord challenges, and all of the above, to now in less than 5-6 months turning it back into, all right, hey, we're bootstrapped, we're back in the game, we're trying to redesign and rebrand almost the same thing, but the market that we're in, I think, is significant. Being here in San Diego, especially in the Oceanside territory, Carlsbad territory, where we're just a hop, skip, and a jump from UCI. I literally just got off the phone with one of my really good friends, Miles. Do you know Miles Dean over up north in Portland?
No, I'm not familiar with him.
No, he's like the head director for Esports for George Fox University.
Okay, so let me look.
Yeah, Miles Dean, and him and another buddy of ours, we call him Rooster. He's a big streamer, not a big streamer, but I mean he streams on a regular basis. But he works with LG. He does a lot of the displays and stuff like that. And we've gone golfing, and when it comes to esports and it comes to a venue, I mean those things kind of go hand in hand. But being able to have direct contacts with someone like Miles, who's really building something organically himself. This program where he's at didn't exist. He came in as the first person. He's now been able to build it up within the first 18 months, get himself into a national championship, get himself into the conference championships, and now he's being able to grow and get himself into now budget conversations with the schools. And so it's just it's fascinating, because these are conversations like we're having with you, where if we document them like you are right now, we can really push this out. And I think from a raising capital standpoint to just kind of to get more sponsors and all the things that go into the financial side of, getting this successful. That's where this type of content I think is so needed. But, when you posted it, not only did you and I have a conversation, like 2.5, 3 weeks before this, and I don't think we recorded that one, but I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, man, like if only I committed 2 years ago, 3 years ago to this, we would be in a completely different position today. We would be open. We'd be running successful tournaments. We'd be hosting, teams from LA, teams from all over the world to come here and train and compete. Like we've kind of talked about in the past of some of the ideas and the concepts that we really look to do here. So starting off, I mean, I'm very interested in wanting to do that. I'm not quite sure exactly what in your mind you had that you were thinking, like, hey, like, why you want to do an esports documentary and stuff like that. So I wanted to obviously just kind of just reach out and touch base on that first before we kind of go into other investment side of things.
Yeah, for me, it was just really annoying because like on LinkedIn, I keep seeing these same posts and content from people about the stories, like what's happened recently in the gaming industry, and I'm just like, I don't care about all that drama. I only think about, okay, we have Tommy here and what Tommy's building, and I kind of just zoom in on the opportunities because from my perspective, I see the kind of drama side of what people are trying to do with tournaments, and I'm just like, this stuff has never worked and it never will work. What does work though is what you're building, and I was trying to explain to people, like, if there is a way that a tournament organizer who is young, right, like they're in high school or university, and they're saying, well, how do I work for XYZ organization or a random startup company, for example, right? They're not going to have any idea. Like, there's not going to be a pathway for them to get to where you're at because there's just nothing like that that's been done. And so I'm thinking we document what you're doing, and then we can get, let's say, Marcus Howard or Aaron Ludwig involved, for example, right? And these creators, right, they can put you on their platform, and then you can just explain to people, this is how you actually get these objectives done, right? You can build up your career or your job or your experience when you're becoming an operator, right? Because no high school or college student is going to know how to do these things. Nobody's teaching them that.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is where you're talking with Miles. One of the big topics is like when you're trying to not just recruit high schoolers from all over the world to come to your university, it's how do you do that? And one of the big things that he mentioned to me in our call a couple of minutes ago was, he's gone out and he's gotten the best coaches that he possibly can get. Now, these aren't hands-on, like they're not actually there at the school coaching. He's hiring people from Mexico. He's hiring people from New Zealand, from all over the world to come and coach at this school. And it's all virtually. But when we can build a physical location that we now are training coaches, we're now training athletes, we're now, developing the true esports side of competition. And once again, just like all the other sports that I've been a part of in my life, we've had individual coaches for each part of it. I had an agility coach, I had a fitness coach, I had a health coach, and health and fitness, I mean, it sounds the same, but it's completely different. And that's where the knowledge between these people and their expertise really helps us as an athlete grow. And it's also now something that, hey, when I know I can't make it to the NFL or I can't make it to the MLB or wherever it is I was trying to go, I now can look back at what I went through in my life and say, hey, that's what I want to do now. Now I've learned and I've had a mentor that I can now reach out to who's done this successfully and say, hey, like, what can I do, to get to where you are? And this is where a facility like I'm trying to develop and design is really trying to be at. We want kids to come in from the youth platform all the way to the high school platform, get them the opportunity and have people like Miles and his coaches and his staff and other coaches all around from Boise, from all over the world to come and say, hey, these are the athletes that have gone through your programs, gone through your training systems, and they have not just won tournaments, but we can truly see the statistical side of what they've done. And that's for me the most exciting part. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to create a new version of something here in America that it, in certain ways is kind of contaminated. You know, there's just so much, like you were saying, negativity on a land center, quote unquote, platform. And that's what people look at it as. And so when you're trying to raise capital, I mean, people are just saying like, hey, there's no money in this. Like there's just fails and fails and fails. And why would I invest into something that's just going to fail like all the other ones? But what we're trying to do is we're trying to create the future. We're trying to take what is already existing and just build onto that, build into what we already know from an organic, original student, or original athletic standpoint. We're not going to try to change anything up, but what we're going to try to do is implement what is already working for all the other sports. And I think a club platform, which we're starting to see is, becoming very popular. Like, look at how many teams, 100 Thieves have. Look at how many teams FaZe have. Like you see the big name ones, but there's so many club teams underneath them that they're using to help grow these athletes in. And that's great. But it's how do we get these guys recognized? And I think a facility like us is what is going to help the locals in each of the communities that we're trying to get into do that. And so hopefully, what I'm doing and what I'm, saying is relative or, kind of similar to what you and I talked about the other day. But yeah, man, it's just, I think the documentary side of this is definitely exciting. And that's something, with what my wife's background, we really feel that we can capitalize huge on. So, but the next conversation would be how do we start this? Like, I know this is a good starting platform, recording these type of conversations and meetings, but like in your mind, like what are the stepping stones that we need to take to get to that launch, that first promotion, that promo to our document, our first promo to the launch of this new facility, all of those things. And I know I can definitely do a lot better in so many areas on the LinkedIn side of things, talking about what I'm doing. Same with, social media. There's so many more advertisements and marketing and, all the different gimmicks that are out there to help promote. But in your mind, like what would you say are like some of the starting points that we should, start to kind of take and highlight? So this way, in a couple of weeks when we, touch base on this, like we're moving. We're not just creating as we go.
Yeah, so what I was thinking was let's just take what we know works, right? Whether it's from, traditional sports or, esports, and then let's just bring up the youth, right? So let's just take one person and we'll just start documenting their journey. And we'll just say, hey, today you're going to be working with Tommy, right? Take 30 minutes of your time, record a video, and you'll say, hey, this is our objective, and we want to get through an entire objective in those 30 minutes, right? Just so the youth can understand, like, this is what we need to have done today so we can make progress. Because a lot of times when I'm speaking with, these young cyber athletes or people who want to build, entire organizations, I'm just telling them, nobody's going to be able to teach you all this unless they've been through it. There's no programming university, there's no kind of like certificate, right? Yet you need someone who's actually been able to do it. So this is what I was thinking. If we can just get yourself, Tommy, in a call with a youth, someone who maybe someone who can reach out to you, or maybe someone who can reach out to Miles, for example, and say, hey, Tommy can teach you this stuff in 30 minutes or less, right? And you just document that. And then every single week, right, we just keep uploading that. We just keep getting it to the point where each week, right, you have one, full-length feature video, maybe on your YouTube channel, for example, right? And then you can just break down that video into little parts that you can share on social media, and you can show the other youth and say, hey, this kid, for example, right? Someone who's in, whether it's high school to they're about to graduate, right? Going on to college, they can see the points that you created in your video, and they say, hey, I can hit that objective too, right? And so once you get the youth thinking that where you're at is reachable, right? They need to understand that it's something that they can actually attain with their potential because they can see other youth do it and they can
Exactly.
train with you. But then there's the opportunity where we can show maybe a sponsor or investor and say, hey, Tommy has actually done this, right? Just look at his YouTube channel, right? Look at his LinkedIn, look at his TikTok, for
Yeah.
example, right? There are all these kids, right? And they're all making their objectives happen. So it's just something that's already proven. It's online.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. And right now you get because there's you can say free time. I keep using the quotes. I don't know why, but there's some free time that I have, and I'm doing consulting work for some other platforms, um, and right now I can see the the current schedule I have set up for myself. There's so many moments that I need to start documenting on during the execution of these tasks. We got some awesome stuff in San Diego happening. I mean, DreamHack's coming on in the next I think like maybe like 12 weeks, 10 weeks, 10 weeks. I think DreamHack's gonna be here in March.
Yeah,
That's like
that's that.
middle March, yeah. And just something like that. I mean, being able to just get from where we are today, get the tasks that we need to get done on the documented side of things, go and show what's going on in DreamHack, and go and show the competition side of that is going to be a great feature. But what we're doing is we're being able to show to the investors and the individuals that we're trying to deliver this message to that, hey, in San Diego specifically, look at the growth that we're already having. Over the last couple of years, I mean, when I first really kind of took that leap into entrepreneurship, I mean, San Diego was ranked number 2 in the country for, esports, for video gaming, or for gamers. Now that Austin's kind of made a massive change, I mean, they leaped and we dropped significantly because there was no community growth for us. But for me, being able to be an implementation of community growth in the gaming side of things, I think we're going to be able to get San Diego back up to that mark, and DreamHack's going to be able to do it. TwitchCon's going to be able to do it, and to show like, hey, now we're able to implement along with these massive platforms already, the esports battle gym side of our business. And I kind of mentioned to you in the video, like, hey, these new buildings we're looking at, they're amazing. They're in great locations, close to the coast highways, close to the ocean. Mark Wahlberg, him and his municipal platform just signed a big lease on it. Awesome. Just got a new message from Miles actually. But we're heading in an awesome direction for this year, and to fail as big as we did, and to be able to bounce back in what I would say is a short window. I mean, 5-6 months to be able to bounce back, is pretty significant. So many people, when they fail in an entrepreneur world, they just give up and like, hey, I tried, like that was it, and like back to 9 to 5s. Where me, I wake up itching, man, just like ready to get at whatever the project is to get us into back into the game. And so I'm excited about it, and for me to be able to communicate with you, and see what you've done on your social media and through your LinkedIn page, it's pretty awesome. Not many people, I can tell, have built connections by using LinkedIn the way you have. You tagged me in one of your posts, and I maybe grew like 5 or 10 views on my monthly rates, but it was the people who were viewing that I think was beneficial. And so I appreciate you for just tagging me in that. And if there's any kind of follow-up that we can do on that, hey, I'm all ears. So I definitely want to keep collaborating with you and trying to figure out, like, hey, in your mind, in the success that you've had, how can we leverage this? How can we make this a part of the whole ecosystem that we're trying to build here? Because I think that's just as important as creating an organization, because you can't really create one unless you understand like all the true bells and whistles that need to go into it, and raising capital and being able to say and speak the lingos and the words that you need to say to let these investors and these VCs or whoever it is you might be talking to know, like, hey, I know my business, I know what we're doing, We spend a lot of time, educating through you and through our documents. And so yeah, I'm thrilled, man. I'm thrilled.
Yeah, of course. I always take a moment like to share what I'm doing with people because I'm always curious. I'm like, who can I speak to that can just educate people, like pure education? Because a lot of times I speak with some random, business owner and like they don't know how to teach. Like they build an awesome organization, but they can't teach a kid. And so it's just like I I'm very in a position of scarcity right now because there's only one Tommy, right? I can't go on LinkedIn and be like, hey everybody, I need someone with XYZ credentials and this experiences. No, it's just Tommy. So I think about how we can build your platform and we can share it with the youth, right? Because none of this really works unless we get the youth to see that what you've been able to achieve and what you want to build, both of those realities, right? Those are possible, right? Those are things that
Yeah.
are able to be, transferable skills, whether it's in esports, video games, to their career, their job, whether they want to, become a homeowner, for example, right? They want to know how to manage their household. Like these are skills which you can learn, but they're not going to learn these things from base clan. And so it's just like, how much effort are we willing to put in to build the platform where the kids can just say, hey, you know what? I may be a high schooler, but if Tommy's willing to teach me, like, why can't I achieve this?
Yeah.
And that's like what's motivating me because I keep seeing again on LinkedIn and all these other posts on Twitter and the drama, and I'm just like, none of this is really effective. None of this is helping anybody. Nobody really uh cares about these things long term. It's what so it's what the youth are going to be talking about 10, 20 years from now once they're much older and they have their families, right? And they have their careers set, right? What are they going to remember? Is it that experience with FaZe Clan drama? No, it's going to be that experience with Tommy where they
Mm-hmm.
just sat down for 30 minutes in a week and just got their objectives done.
Yeah, exactly. No, yeah, I agree. Yeah, like I said, it's a lot of work, and not many people are able to truly dedicate, to the work. So many people, like I said, will, see a giant pile of things that need to get done, and it'll just overwhelm them. Where we got to really focus on, hey, let's get the big beast out the way. What they call is eating the frog first. Let's eat that frog, and then let's start knocking out all the little things. And I think when it comes to a training standpoint or an entrepreneur standpoint, I mean, it's all the exact same. You gotta be committed. You gotta have the mindset of understanding that failure is going to happen. But at the same time, if you have a dream and a passion, you got to keep pursuing, and you got to fight with all you have to do it. And so that's what we're going to do. And I think being able to not just take a kid that just plays video games and say, hey, like, do you really want to be, an esports professional, or do you really want to get a scholarship or an opportunity to go play for a college or one of these teams, or even build your own team? It's, hey, this is what it truly takes to do that. And I hope we can really paint that picture well for them, because, hey, there's going to be a lot of people who are going to watch it and they're going to be like, yeah, you know what? I'm just going to keep playing on my Friday nights at home. Maybe this isn't for me, but we don't want to do that at the same time. So we want to try to get people out. We want to get them to not just compete, but understand that, hey, there's more than just, and this is another thing too, there's more than just the athlete side of things. There's production. There's so many pieces that the gaming community really needs significant growth in. In San Diego, I think we provide a lot of that. The only thing that we're lacking is what I hope to be building, and that's the community side of it. Being able to get venues out there that is not just drawing the gamers here, but we're drawing the organizers, we're drawing the major sponsors, and we're influencing the right way. We're not just saying, hey, we got tattoos and athletes and musicians, and hey, come buy all of our merchandise. It's like, no, man, like, hey, let's better the community as a whole, because that's the goal. It's one kid and it's two kids, and next thing you know, it's adults as well. We've in our last conversation, I remember saying that, like, hey, I have some buddies who are UPS drivers, and they're some of the sweatiest people I've ever played with. And I can't even. My talent's not even close to theirs. But these are guys who just they just don't know that, hey, the opportunity to become a gamer at that age is still true. There's an article I saw the other day of like an all women's like team playing Valorant, and they were all like 80-year-old women.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
just
yeah. I
like,
saw that
what?
too.
Did you see that article? Like, I was
Yeah.
just like, I'm like, that's crazy. But one thing, like that's where we are. I have a 4-year-old son, and a couple weeks ago, like he was playing Rocket League, and I was just kind of like sitting back watching. I'm just like, damn, like you're actually kind of like getting good at this game, and you're only 4 years old. You just pick up a controller for the first time like a month ago. And so I think there's so many opportunities for us, and it's just like you were saying, just let's just start one 30-minute video at a time. So when it comes to using talking about the raising capital side through your services, I mean, how can somebody like myself, like what's the best route for us to go about um getting some of the connections, or kind of your strategies?
So I'll just be really transparent and frank just because I don't have anything to sell you really. It's more like, hey, we can just have calls like this, right? We can take in whoever your buddies are, Miles, for example, right? And say, hey, this is what we can realistically do right now. Like, for example, just on my phone, I just sent a message to Aaron Ludwig and Marcus Howard, and I said, hey, I recommend featuring Tommy on your platform/podcast, right? So just simple things like that we can do in the call, like right now, like that can make a huge difference, right? Because a lot of times we don't need to do a whole bunch of like, oh, we need to go cold email some sponsors or angel investors. No, we can do that stuff later when it's closer to
Yeah.
launch. For right now, like we can get you on Marcus's platform or podcast or Aaron's platform or podcast, right? We can do that right now. And so it's not something where I think I need to sell a service. It's something where it's just like, hey, let's just have a conversation like this, maybe
Yeah.
every few weeks, right? And then once it's closer to launch, right, we can think about, okay, hey, who are these investors you might actually have to email, or who are these sponsors you might have to email, and we can kind of build a plan around that, and we can kind of figure out how to do the marketing around that at that time.
Mhm. Yeah, no, and man, any connections, and I'm open. I'm open to talking with anybody. I've in the past have felt like I've said too much to the wrong parties, and I've seen a lot of the ideas and the things I was trying to keep more secret out there. But now I'm at a point where, hey man, it's for the people, it's for the community, and if I can say something that can help somebody, and that has a already existing organization, or someone who already has a chain of facilities, if I can help add extra revenue or add an extra idea to them, that's what I want to do, even if it's something that you don't get compensated for. At the end of the day, if you're doing the right thing, that's all that matters in my mind. So right now, it's 2023. We got a whole new year ahead of us. It's January 4th. Man, let's get it. Let's have a kick-ass year, and let's definitely get the word out and get the brand out. And so, man, if you can make a connection with those guys, and if there's a way, we can do like a chain text message or an email or something like that, let me know. I'm opening. So
Yeah, man, I'll do that right now. Let's just go on LinkedIn real quickly, and I'll start a group message. Let's see. Marcus.
some nice wooden cabinets you got behind you.
Try to keep the aesthetic more pleasing sometimes in these videos, just because a lot of times
Yeah.
people are like, hey, it's a good podcast, but sometimes if they actually pay attention to the video, what are they going to look at? And it's like, okay, there's my glasses.
There you go. Everyone's just probably curious, like, hey, what's at the bottom of that chain? You got a cross
Yeah,
on there or something?
there's, oh no, it's
Yeah.
prayer beads.
Oh, okay. What are those
Yeah,
for?
so I wear this just for like spirituality. Like it's my, people have like good luck charms. I just wear this
Yeah.
just for, I like the aesthetic, right? The look, but then also just good luck.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm the same way. I'm a big believer in like angel numbers and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
and
it's like
anytime I see like a
yeah, it's
repetitive
a
set of numbers,
yeah,
good thing.
it's a very like superstitious thing to some people, but to me, I'm like, I don't think about it like as like superstition or business. I think about it as like spirituality, right? Like,
Mhm.
what can you do for today with the karma or dharma or whatever you believe, right? And I think about just the second and third order effects of things. And I'm just trying to think about, okay, I just want to do something that's good for today, and then
Yeah.
we'll just see where it goes.
Yeah. Today, the two is the number I'm seeing a lot of. Right before I went to the gym, I looked at the track and it was like 22, 22. So I was like, all right, that's a good sign. Right before going into the gym. And then right before our call, just checking the time real quick because we had a call at 2:30. Just check the time. It was like 2:22. I was like, all right, man. Like that's a good sign for a call like this. So I'm a big believer in it, and that's where the Third Eye brand kind of came from. I had an
Ah,
initial name called ESC, Esports Community, and we were just in a meeting, and I was just looking at it. I'm like, man, ESC's out there a lot. Let's try to find something new. You know how it is, trying to get like a brand or a name together. Like everyone's throwing things against the wall. It's like the whole spaghetti thing, like throw it against the wall, see if it sticks. And we were like Bombshell. We were talking about Warriors. Like there's just so many names. And when things get overwhelming, I like to go into like a meditational stage, and so or a state of mind. And I was just doing a meditation, and they were talking about like third eye in the meditation and what it really meant. And I was just like, man, like that's like a true gamer right there. Being able to see the future before it really exists. That Oculus power. And so for me, like that's what it was. As soon as I heard that, I started researching immediately. I was like, is there a third eye out there? And so yeah, that's kind of where it came from. I'm a big meditator. I
yeah,
appreciate
I
that.
got into yeah, I got into same kind of mindset and experience because a lot of things recently started happening to me. Somebody from my job recently started speaking to me about the third eye, and I started learning about it, and I was like, oh, this is actually really cool. I never knew
Yeah,
this. And also like I started like changing the way I see reality, and this is the whole bunch of experiences I didn't expect to happen, but it's really cool, and it kind of humbled me because I was like, there's so much I don't know.
yeah, yeah. And it's new to me too. I mean, my wife, she's kind of into that stuff a lot more than I am. But yeah, no, I've been kind of doing it for at least a couple years now, and so it's getting more and more. I can definitely control my mind a lot better and in certain ways, but yeah, I still get excited. And I think excitement and passion is definitely a key piece you got to have. So, but
I agree.
man, I
There's
know we're running out of some time here, but I appreciate you for making that message. I just got it through. So,
yeah,
um,
definitely keep keep me updated, and then I will keep sending these messages and just keep creating these group chats as we keep speaking because there's more people that I'll think about, and then whatever we can do, we'll just have a discussion like this again, and then we can just make a chat, and then we can make it happen.
fantastic. Yeah, and dude, let's definitely try to get back on another call like this in the next like couple days. Maybe like a week or so. So that way we can kind of see some of the progress and get some good points out there.
Yeah, definitely. You have my calendar. Just schedule another call, and I'll
Yeah.
be available.
Yeah. Is your Tuesday Wednesdays or your Wednesday Thursdays or your go tos?
Yeah, yeah.
Cool. All right, man. I appreciate it. Enjoy your day. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, brother. Speak soon. Take care.